Did you know that avoidants tend to be most easily drawn to a very specific attachment style? In fact, I often think of the specific attachment style as not only being the one that they are most likely to fall for when it comes to a romantic situation and dating, but also it tends to be the same attachment style that is also a little bit of their kryptonite or that they have a huge soft spot for. So in today's video, we are going to cover which attachment style that is, why that's actually the case, and the key takeaways and learnings that you can understand this that will help you understand your relationship with an avoidant. So first and foremost, what's really interesting is that I find for each attachment style, each individual attachment style tends to have one other attachment style that triggers them the most. And when I say triggers, I am really referring to, like, of course, every attachment style can get triggered by every person, even a securely attached style. And of course, whenever we have two insecurely attached styles in a pairing, they trigger each other. But what I find is that there's one for each individual. It's almost like their kryptonite in a way that really gets under their skin the most, affects them for the lengthiest period of time. And they also almost feel this sense of like helplessness with, where it's like they have almost a difficult time leaving this person, even though they get so triggered by them. So we're going to talk about all of why this happens, what it means. And first and foremost, the attachment style that triggers the dismissive avoidant the most tends to be the fearful avoidant attachment style. And this is what I mean by like kryptonite. They get into this pattern with fearful avoidance, where dismissive avoidance often like they get really triggered. The criticism of a fearful avoidant, the harsh words, the sense of unsafety when the fearful avoidant kind of goes through the roller coaster, like the big ups and downs, and has those moments of volatility or expressing anger in an unhealthy way in a relationship. These things really deeply affect the dismissive avoidant. And yet, dismissive avoidance usually have a difficult time leaving fearful avoidant attachment styles in relationships, believe it or not. And I wouldn't say this is 100% of the time, because it's absolutely not. But I would say that this is definitely an emerging theme I've seen over the years of being in client practice and working with so many thousands of students within PDS, within workshops I've done in the past. It's definitely a massive theme. So let's talk about why this actually happens, because I'm hoping you're curious. So what you should know is that fearful avoidants also operate just like other attachment styles. There tends to be 2 or 3 key reasons here. So the first one is that fearful avoidants tend to operate similar to dismissive avoidance with intermittent reinforcement. So they are hot and cold all the time. They can be really available and really present, and then they can be really withdrawn or really frustrated or shut down. And intermittent reinforcement hooks everybody, including dismissive avoidant attachment styles. And so dismissive avoidants tend to have this dynamic where when somebody's, on and off or hot and cold, because dismissive avoidants are also like that, but they're less in extremes. Like fearful avoidants are extremely hot or extremely cold, right? Dismissive avoidants are kind of, in their feelings or in their fears, but their range in which that pendulum will swing is much smaller and more centralized, right? They tend to either be, low level, just completely avoidant more pervasively, or low level, interested in the relationship and expressive about their interest in the relationship and validating and reassuring. And on either side, it's fairly low level. For fearful avoidance, it's very strong, very extreme sort of ends of the continuum. And what it does is it kind of mind warps dismissive avoidance out of their feelings minus fears space, right? They don't get into like their extreme feelings and then have these big fears pop up, because that coldness, that pulling back or withholding from the fearful avoidant sort of causes them to not really have those fears of what their attachment style are coming up. We know the fears of a dismissive avoidant attachment style are fears of being trapped, fears of being helpless or powerless or pressured or, sort of losing themselves in a relationship, losing their freedom, autonomy, independence, those really important needs that they have. And so when the fearful avoidant is very off or pulling away, it really causes them to lose touch with their fears, and it actually enables them to stay more in touch with their feelings over long periods of time. So this is a big dynamic. Now, the other really important component here that happens, I want to be really clear about something too, actually. As you're hearing this is absolutely not a call to say, oh, if you're trying to get the dismissive avoidant, to pay attention to you, or to, you're trying to win them over, that you should be really hot and cold. You should intermittently reinforce them. I really don't believe in mind games in relationships. Like I can't stress enough how disempowering mind games are for couples or individuals over time. I've seen this so much in my client-based practice over the years. I've seen this in so many different places. And all that happens with mind games is one person plays a game, the other person feels unsafe, maybe plays a game back or withdraws, or, acts out in some way. And all that happens is if you imagine there's like a connection, mind games are just slowly wearing away at the connection over time, kind of like waves crashing at the rocks, right? They're slowly just wearing them down over time. What we're trying to do instead of mind games is we're trying to take an unhealthy structure, which is mind games, and we're trying to move the needle towards open communication. The more we can get in touch with our feelings, build emotional literacy, have healthy boundaries, communicate our needs in healthy ways, and learn to have a relationship to ourselves too, so that in the moments that our relationship's imperfect or our partner's not there, it doesn't cause us immense distress, because people will be imperfect sometimes and people won't be available 100% of the time. It's in that space that if you have an empowered, secure relationship to yourself, those things really don't affect you to the same degree. And you feel empowered to go get your needs met across multiple sort of areas of life. So we don't want mind games. We want healthy understanding of ourselves. We want to reprogram core wounds and big fears that we have from past events and sort of our baggage that we carry into relationships. And we want to learn to communicate openly and healthily. And that's where both parties feel really empowered in a relationship. And it does the exact opposite of wearing away at the relationship. It just continues to strengthen and evolve the relationship more and more over time. So I just wanted to be really clear about that. I know I kind of went down a rabbit hole there, but just we're not saying intermittent reinforcement is what we should do, right? Intermittent reinforcement will, on one hand, in the dating and honeymoon stages, cause the dismissive avoidant to sometimes have a hard time leaving. They may be like sort of in their feelings more than their fears. But once we get past that stage and we go more towards like the stability stage, or we get stuck in the power struggle stage, these will still be things that ultimately wear the relationship down and can cause a breaking apart. But it's because of the secondary reactions to that, right? It's because the volatility, the arguing intensifies, heightens. We get more conflict in relationships, and those will be ultimately the things that will cause everything to break apart. And by the way, before I tell you the second major reason that DAs will get most triggered by the fearful avoidant, and yet why they stay, the course, if you want to do a deep dive into like how to really master yourself in the 6 stages of a relationship, or how to understand somebody else, we have an attachment style course. You can check them all out for free, and you can use the link below. But that link will give you access to all of the PDS courses. And if you want to understand like the blueprint of yourself as a specific attachment style, or of another person of their attachment style in every one of the 6 stages of relationships, when you first start dating, when you get into the honeymoon stage, then in the power struggle stage, stability, commitment, bliss stages, you can use the link below and we'll give you access to the roadmap for each attachment style, what the pain points will be in those stages, what the big fears are, how to overcome the fears or breaking points in relationships, like big challenges, and how to learn to recondition things that are not serving you as a specific attachment style as well. So again, you can check that out down below. Now, the other big thing that triggers dismissive avoidance the most, so they get triggered by the volatility because it makes them feel unsafe. They get triggered by the criticism because it makes them really feel like they're in their shame wounds. They often feel really defective. And sometimes they feel pressured by the fearful avoidant around, closeness and presence and all these different things, pressure to like show up in a different way and to change. And they often feel kind of like incapable of that change. But the other reason they will tend to stay, other than intermittent reinforcement, is that they tend to get into dynamics and situations where deep down, they also have this fear of losing this person. And it may not express itself as like just abandonment, but they can fear losing the needs that they've been getting met by this person. And they can fear like, this connection that I built with this person, if I don't feel that same kind of support or presence or availability from somebody. A lot of dismissive avoidants, often when they let somebody in, and fearful avoidants do a really good job of sort of getting in and to the other side of people, and sort of digging deep into somebody. Dismissive avoidants often have this fear of, okay, now that I've let you in, I'm afraid of losing this connection that we've built, because dismissive avoidants derive a sense of security and comfort from really letting somebody in. And so when somebody sort of passes through the wall, DAs often feel like, okay, I'm not sure, how to be alone again without this person. I'm not sure, what the future will hold if I'll find somebody like this again. And they tend to some degree, kind of put the fearful avoidant up on a pedestal in a lot of different types of relationships. And part of that pedestal is that they've let this person into the other side of their wall. And it seems like a sort of groundbreaking thing for a lot of dismissive avoidance. And so we'll see these things be this kind of like unique dynamic where it's almost like the DA gets triggered the most by the fearful avoidant. And they have it's like the fearful avoidance, the kryptonite. They don't just get triggered the most by them, but they have the hardest time leaving them or exiting a relationship, even if it's not working or can be unhealthy. So we'll cover each of the other attachment styles in a bit of a series here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you're somebody who's truly interested in helping others while also securing financial freedom for your future, there is a limited time option to join our 50% off certified relationship coach program. And this is a 12-week program where you can create financial freedom, work from anywhere in the world, and truly make an impact on other individuals' lives by becoming a certified relationship coach in just 12 weeks. Throughout this entire 12 weeks, you will learn all of the tools that you need to discover somebody's attachment style and help them heal and change their attachment style if they are insecurely attached so that they can become secure and build the best relationships of their life. On top of that, you'll learn all about the subconscious mind and how to actually rewire our painful limiting beliefs, our painful behavioral patterns, and help your clients learn their relationship needs, as well as the needs of their loved ones. You'll also learn how to build a thriving coaching practice and set yourself up for long-term success. You'll learn all of the business tips and tools you need to build funnels, leverage marketing strategies, and really thrive in the marketplace. Even if you have absolutely no coaching experience, this certification will give you everything you need starting from scratch to become a thriving relationship coach. You can find more using the link down below. If you want to learn more, check out the PDS free trial. I can't stress enough, these are very surface level videos compared to what's in the courses, just because I can put so much more information and research and workbooks and everything into the courses. So they're so much better and will get you results and healing fast. So if you want to check them out, that link is below. And thank you so much for watching and for being here.